and all that and all that. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the learning session. So this learning session will be for about 1 hour, and we have our fantastic guest in the house already, in the Wonelli. Now, just do some introductions, then I would invite her to just comment. So please, I would like if you're here and you still have your friends and loved ones that I said your friends and loved ones, your friends and colleagues that you need to tell about this, this session. Please do, because I believe that this would be of great. It will be an insightful experience for you and a great learning experience for you on your journey of leadership. All right. So without further ado, I'll just do some brief introductions. So this learning session is for one of our Leap Africa's program called the Youth Leadership Program. Now, the Youth Leadership Program is a program designed to equip young change makers, with skills and tools, to develop innovative solutions to drive the actualization of the SDGs. So in the month of August, we gathered after about 300 or more applications, we were able to train about 100 participants on 12 modules, rigorous training for 3 weeks on these skills. We taught them things like monitoring and evaluation, leadership, stakeholders management and partnerships. And these guys went on to implement various change projects across Nigeria in health, in education, and all that. And it was a very exciting program, exciting event. So this learning session is a session where we get to, ask questions and just feed off, information from thought leaders. This is the first that we'll be doing, and we're doing others concurrently, but just to learn from thought leaders that are doing amazing work in social development in Nigeria. And also because, I believe strongly that you can't rise beyond the level of your exposure. And when you're exposed to this knowledge and when you're exposed to these skills from these thought leaders, it increases your capacity to do more. Many of you have done various change projects. This will increase your capacity to do more, especially with the recent events that happen in Nigeria too. This is the more reason why young leaders need to rise up. People need to lead from where they are and change our communities and our societies, and that is why we're doing it. Let me know, are you ready for this session? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know in the comment section, are you ready for this session? Let me know. Let me see the big yes. Let me see the big yes. Are you ready? Are you ready to learn? Are you ready to learn? Are you ready to learn? Keep the yeses coming. Keep the yeses coming. Let me see. Fantastic. Are you ready to learn? Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting further time, with those clap emojis and fire emojis, let us welcome Ndidi Iwunili. She's the founder of Leap Africa, co-founder of Sarah Capital. Amazing woman. Good evening, Ndidi. Good to see you. You're on mute.
Great
You're
to be
mute.
here. Can you hear me? Is the volume
Yes, okay? I can. It's a bit low, but yes, I can. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. I don't know why people are saying it's low. Is it better now?
Let me see. Just hold on a second.
I'll just take off the microphone. Is that better?
Okay, it's better now. It's better now. Fantastic.
Maybe
Thank you.
My earphones are acting up. Good to see everyone. Thank you, Daniel. I'm a big fan of Daniel's. He gives us energy. It's been a long week. We're tired. Some of us have been counting the votes with the US states.
Elections,
at least taking our mind off the problems in our own backyard. So it's great to be here.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
So you want me to start the presentation, Daniel?
Yes, please, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So it's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. I am a big fan of Leap Africa, obviously, for obvious reasons. I'm biased. And so whenever Leap asks me to do anything, I agree. And I've been asked to just speak about, social change and your role in it and just share some insights. First of all, I have to say I'm extremely proud of Nigerian youth. If there's any time to be proud of Nigerian youth, I'm proud of Nigerian youth. You know, over the last few weeks, we've seen the power of Nigerian youth to be change agents, the power of Nigerian youth to amplify their voice, to speak, to engage. And during the NSARS movement, someone reached out to me and said, you know, what is your role? And a friend of mine posted this, and I put it up here. I said, all of us have a role to play in the social change movement. NSARS has kicked off a new era of social change in Nigeria. Some of us have been working on this for 18 years. Some of us have been praying for it. And all of a sudden, in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten so many new ideas for social change projects that young people are spearheading. Very positive, pragmatic ideas. And this just reinforces this wheel. And I don't know how many of you have seen this wheel. I posted it on social media. It says some of us are called to be healers. Some of us are called to be artists. Some of us storytellers. Some of us bridge builders. Others, frontline responders. Some caregivers. Some disruptors. Some visionaries, and some builders. You have to figure out where in the ecosystem you are, what you're called to be in this social change ecosystem, because we deserve a better Nigeria. We deserve a transformed Nigeria. And every single one of you on this call has a special role to play. You have to figure out if you are the storyteller, if you're the one who's going to write the stories, who's going to tweet the stories, who's going to photograph the stories, or if you're going to build the bridges between the police and the masses, because there are some good police people out there. Are you going to build those bridges? Or between the government and the masses? Or between celebrities and the masses? Whatever it is, you're that bridge builder, you're that connector. The frontline responder, the person who is there in the march at the front, or the person who is there with the idea to push the status quo, to deliver impact. Or are you going to be the disruptor? And I'll talk a bit more about these as we go along, but I want you to keep it at the back of your mind that at the end of this, I'm going to ask you what your role is. And I'm going to ask some of you to tell me what you think your role is in this new Nigeria, this changed ecosystem that we're building. I believe we need a new tribe of youth who are visionary, who are innovative, who are humble, who are ethical, who are lifelong learners, and who are philanthropists. So my first question to you is, are you self-aware? You can't come into this ecosystem of change if you're not self-aware. And this is especially relevant for young people. Now, many of you chose to study things you didn't really want to study, but you thought it was prestigious. Your parents thought it was what you should study, or it's the only subject you got into. I work in the agriculture sector, and we go to universities all over Nigeria. And guess what? People who study agriculture, we say, was it your first choice? No, I wanted to study medicine. I didn't get it. Was it your second choice? No, I tried for pharmacy. I didn't get the course. What number are we on your totem pole? They said number 5. You were my 5th choice, and I want to get out of agriculture. And we're like, wow, what can we do to get you excited about agriculture and the ecosystem? Now, a lot of us have studied what we didn't want to study, or we're stuck in professions that we don't want to be in. And I tell you, as young people, you have to determine the path set out for you. But to figure out that path, you have to be self-aware. I was able to find out my life's purpose quite early, maybe when I was 20 years old, because I diligently sought out what that purpose was and exposed myself to lots of different professions, and then also sought the help of mentors. And because I'm a very strong Christian, my faith was very important to me, seeking God's face and asking God, what do you want me to do with my life? So conduct an honest assessment, discover your blind spots. I know this was covered in Leap Africa's curriculum. Seek out opportunities for growth and development, even in university. If some of you are still in university, internships, shadowing, saying to somebody, can I come and spend a day with you? I just want to learn more about what you do so I can figure out if that's what's for me. Most people will say yes. Reading widely, finding a mentor, finding a role model, finding a critic, appointing a critic in your life, someone who can tell you the truth, finding a champion, someone who encourages you when you want to give up, and then finding an accountability and prayer partner. I met my accountability and prayer partner in university. 20 years later, we're still praying together and holding each other accountable for the dreams and goals we set for ourselves. And I'm sure you did this homework while you were at Leap, but if you didn't, please, tonight, ask 2 trusted people in your life, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? When was the time I inspired you? When was the time I disappointed you? And what do you think I'll achieve in life and why? Authentic leaders and ecosystem change agents are servant leaders who are broken. When I say broken, I don't mean broken in spirit, but broken enough to be humble and contrite because they know what it means to be tested. And if they haven't been tested before they become a change agent, they're going to be tested when they become a change agent. So that ability to be tough and authentic is so important. You also have to change your mindset. And I tell you, I've been so inspired by the young people over the last few weeks because they have shattered our minds. And I'm sure many of you are part of that group who have growth mindsets. When you don't know something, you find out. When you receive criticism, you don't take it as something that damages you. You take it as feedback. When something appears too hard, you think it's worthwhile. When something appears too difficult, you see it as a lesson. Instead of being jealous of somebody, you admire what they've been able to achieve. And where you see a problem, instead you see an opportunity. That growth mindset is so critical for us as we move into this new era of social change in our country. And definitely as you move up that ladder to success, you're going to realize that all through, there are going to be hurdles and burdens. Now, feedback is really important. And I want to pause on this because I've met a lot of young people who are so intelligent, so dynamic, so hardworking, like many of you, but who don't like to take feedback. I have some of them in my home. They don't want to take feedback, especially from the adults, from these old people who have ruined everything. What do you know? But you know, there's something around having wisdom with age. And you know what causes the wisdom? Mistakes and learning from our failures. So please be open to feedback. Feedback is a gift. Be comfortable giving feedback, but also be comfortable receiving it. Now, receiving it is a gift, and giving it and knowing how to give it, you don't make it personal, right? So I can say, wow, what I really loved about the NTARS movement was how organized it was, how decentralized it was, how strategic it was, how they leverage social media. But are there opportunities for improvement? Definitely. What are some opportunities for improvement? It's how I give that criticism. And if you're the type of person who is a lifelong learner committed to social change, you'll be the one asking, what are opportunities for improvement? And be able to receive those opportunities. Doesn't mean that you have to act on everything you hear, but you at least receive it and then test it with your spirit and decide if it's something you're going to act on and you're going to change. This is really important, especially for young people and young change agents. This concept of emotional bank accounts. I said I have young people in my home, and many times my young people are here on the debit side. They only remember me when they need something, but they don't put anything in here to credit, like gratitude, right? Like thank you, like how can I help you? Like, is there anything you need? But when they need something, they remember me. With every relationship you have and your networks with people above you, people below you, people that your peers, you have to deposit into it to ensure that your credit exceeds your debit. This emotional bank account is so important, especially as you build your social capital. And every one of you needs social capital. Do you know what I mean by social capital? You have the ability to pick up the phone and say, Daniel, I need X amount of money, and Daniel will deposit it into your bank account. Physical bank account, real cash. Why? Because Daniel knows that if he gives you that money, you're going to use it well. That's when somebody has a credit, right? Or you need a visa. Now there's some young people who call me and they say, Didi, I've been denied a US visa. Can you help me? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are. Am I going to call the US ambassador on your behalf when I don't know who you are? Right? But they expect that because they went to leave Africa, I should call the US ambassador on their behalf. That social capital is that if Daniel calls me and says, I've been denied a US visa, I will do that for him. I'm not saying I know the current US ambassador, but I've done it from some LEAP alumni. Why? Because they had that credit. They had proven themselves, they had built relationships, not just with me, but other people. And with every relationship, invest in building that social capital. The second is, are you innovative? Does anybody remember what number one is? Are you self-aware? I'm going to ask you guys at the end. The second is, are you innovative? Are you innovative? Are you innovative? Are you thinking about how to do things better, faster? Are you thinking about how to achieve more with every initiative you start, with everything you embark on? To be innovative, you need to be visionary. You need to see things others don't see. You need to hear things others don't hear. You need to hear what is not being said. You need to see through the eyes God has given you, to see needs and to see opportunities. I'll give you an example. I got into the food ecosystem. I didn't study agriculture. Many of you know, if you read my bio, I didn't study agriculture first and second degree. I didn't study food and nutrition. I didn't study microbiology, nothing related to food. But this was the picture that I met when I first traveled to America. When people asked me, where are you from? And I said, Africa, Nigeria in particular, they would say, there are starving children in Nigeria. My mom always said, finish your dinner. There are starving children in Biafra, or there are starving children in Ethiopia, or there are starving children in Eritrea. This was the image that they had of Africa, starving children. And this made me angry. It made me sad because I grew up in Enugu. I didn't see starving children like this. I grew up on the university campus, right? I had a relatively sheltered childhood. And in my backyard, there were orchards, many orchards. We used to have a garden and mango tree, guava tree, papaya tree. So you can imagine, the more I learned about the sector, the more I realized that we are naturally endowed for agricultural excellence, and there's no reason we should be net importers of food. So I started a bunch of companies with my husband. One of them is called Sahel Consulting, and that's where I work now. And Sahel Consulting is committed to transforming the agriculture and nutrition landscape in Africa. And we work with a range of partners. We're 10 years old this year. We work with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, USAID, IFDC, ECOWAS, AGRA, LNZ, Senegos, right? And we implement projects. We don't just develop strategies that never get implemented. We're actually involved in transforming ecosystems. And one of them is called Aldine, Advancing Local Dairy Development in Nigeria. And this project is in 5 states in Nigeria: Adamawa, Jigawa, Plateau, Kano, and Kaduna. And in each of these states, we're working with dairy processors. We have the 4th largest cattle herd in Africa, but we import 95% of the processed milk we consume in Nigeria. Milk is expensive. The average family cannot afford milk in this country. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to put the nomadic communities into clusters, teach them how to produce hygienic milk, provide them with feed and fodder support, solar-powered boreholes, training, and then link them with companies that will buy directly from them. We're also shaping policy when it comes to dairy imports, enabling environment, etc. And I have teams. I have an office in Abuja and teams in each of these states working on these projects. Now, this is a difficult project. I've gotten white hair because of this project. But this is an example of a project that could be transformational on our continent. And we're the ones who designed it, and we're the ones who are executing it. And it's such an exciting project, but it's an example of a visionary project. Now, you say, Ndidi, you're from Anambra State. Why are you working in these states? Why am I working in the States? Because I'm a Nigerian. Because I believe that if we develop Nigeria, we develop the future. We create jobs, we transform lives. And yes, I will also enjoy cheaper milk, more affordable yogurt. And my grandchildren will have more nutritious lives and more fuller lives because they have nutritious food. The same with Ace Foods. Ace Foods is now 11 years old. And we started Ace Foods to prove that you can source locally and process high quality products in this country. Now, Ace Foods is run by young people. I don't even run Ace Foods day to day anymore. Our managing director is Temi Jeputu, and we produce spices and complementary food. We source from 10,000 farmers. We export now to South Africa and Germany. And I hope all of you have used our spices. That's all I use to cook. That's all that you find in my kitchen. So if you haven't started using Ace Foods, you haven't tasted the goodness of the best that Nigeria has to offer. So please go out and buy Ace Foods. We're in ShopRite and Spar and Ebano for those of you who are in Lagos, but we're also all over the country. So please, please, please check us out. And our latest company is called nourishingafrica.com. And if you're in the food and agriculture sector, please visit Nourishing Africa. It's a one-stop shop for entrepreneurs in the food and agriculture landscape. We have entrepreneurs now from 34 African countries. We have access to data, funding, jobs, events, and it's a fantastic platform. And it's run by 2 young people who used to work for me. They're under 30 years old, and they have equity in this business, and they're building this business, and I'm so proud of them. So this is really about saying, I see problems, I turn them into businesses. I turn them into opportunities. I create solutions. And it's not easy. Never is it easy. I mean, I have grown old starting these organizations, but the impact I'm seeing is so gratifying. Number 3 is you have to be ethical. And it's not easy being ethical in Nigeria. It's not. And I understand as young people that you face dilemmas on a daily basis. Even in university, where there's a lot of distortion. And right now, there's a lot of confusion about what is right and what is wrong. But I'll challenge you to commit to a life of integrity. There's actually currency associated with a good character. The reason why I've been invited to serve on the board of the Rockefeller Foundation or the board of Nigerian breweries is because when people do due diligence on me, they can find a lot of skeletons in my closet. There are so many other people I nominate for things, and people tell me, you don't even want to be nominating that person. You don't know what they do or what they've done. So, my brothers and sisters, my challenge to you is to invest in building your moral compass, especially when you're young. There's a quote here by Stephen Covey which says, high trust equals high speed and low cost, whereas low trust means low speed and low cost. If I cannot trust you, I will not put you forward. I will not be your champion, right? I will not be your sponsor because I can't trust you. And people have to trust you in little things before they can trust you in big things. When we started Ace Foods, we were challenged to be ethical. Many of our competitors were selling chili. They were calling it chili pepper, hot pepper, red pepper, but it was actually maize dyed red with Sudan red, which is carcinogenic, and filled with chili extract to make it smell like chili. And they were getting 200% margins, and we were getting 20% margins. And we're tempted, right, to match what the competition was selling. But I said, if I can't eat it in my kitchen, then why will I sell it to other people? Why will I want my fellow Nigerians to die? And we had to take the hit, right? We're not as big as we should be. We're not as profitable as we should be, but we're going to live with integrity and die with integrity. And today we supply multinationals because they can trust us. And that ability to trust you, even when it's difficult, is such an important attribute. Number 4, are you humble? Are you humble? Are you humble? Are you humble? This is so critical, especially for young people. It doesn't matter how accomplished you are, how intelligent you are, you have to be humble because there are times when humility is what's going to get you in the door. When we started Ace Foods, I had already been earning 6 figures in America. I already had a national honor, but I had to eat humble pie and start paying myself a salary of 50,000 naira, right? Why would I do that? Because that's what the company could afford. We were just starting. And then I had to humble myself to go in front of the office, ShopRite office, for over 4 years before they would accept our products. If I said, don't you know who I am? I have a national honor. Don't you know who I am? I started Leap Africa. They'll say, please, come out of here. You're not serious. Who cares? If you want your product on the shelf, stand in line. The point is, stoop to conquer. Servant leadership is critical, and that humility will help you throughout your life. Number 5, are you disciplined? And I know it's so tough for young people these days because you guys have cell phones and social media. It's so tough to be disciplined. Many of us are trying to work while checking our phones and watching videos and multitasking, but you have to be disciplined. Disciplined about your time. Social change agents, disciplined about your time. You have 24 hours. How are you using it? Disciplined about who you surround yourself with. You know, you're going to have to say no, goodbye to some friendships that are not going to help you in the next phase of your life. Disciplined about how you use your resources. Many people say, oh, I only have, 100,000. So when I have 1 million, I'll learn how to be disciplined. No, if you're not disciplined with 100,000, you're not going to be disciplined with 10 million. You're not going to be disciplined with 10 billion. So learn to be disciplined with your resources, with your credibility. Who do you lend your name to? What initiatives do you join? How do you support causes? Be disciplined about who you lend your name to because that is your currency. Be very careful about that. Your say-do ratio. Let me talk about this. Daniel knows me. I say I'm going to do something and I have to do it. And if it means that I have to cancel other things, sometimes I have to ask other people to step in, but I'm never going to say I'm going to do something and not do it, right? And in Nigeria, we complain about our tailors. You know how many tailors have disappointed me? I've stopped working with tailors, right? As somebody has had my clothes for 6 months. I don't know if all of you have that experience. What about mechanics, right? But many of us have also have a very poor say-do ratio. We say we're going to do something and we don't do it on time. We say we'll be there, we're not there on time. You have to have a 1-to-1 say-do ratio. Say and do. 1-to-1. If you're not going to do it, manage expectations. Say, I might not do it. I apologize in advance. Manage expectations, but don't disappoint because people need to trust you and they need to hold you accountable. 6, are you a lifelong learner? And I know some of you are still in school. You're like, no, I don't want to go to school again. But commit now to be a lifelong learner. Reading, mentors, networking groups. I've actually formed networking groups. Some I've created myself. We have one with couples, about 9 couples. We've been meeting for about 10 years. We pray together. We have dinner together once a month, right? COVID has disrupted that, but we've been doing it consistently. I have another group of women, someone else started called Power Girls. Every year we sit and we actually spend 6 hours doing our plans for the year, our professional plans, our personal plans, our goals, our targets. And then we hold each other accountable all through the year, just so we can continue to move forward in our lives. Now, one of the ways I've committed to learning is that I write books. While at Leap, I helped write and edit about 11 books. And now, since I started running Sahel, I wrote a book called Social Innovation in Africa. Some of you might have this book, and the Nigerian version is called Reaching Millions with Impact. And it talks about what it takes to reach millions, what it takes to scale, how to determine your scaling strategy, your mission, your values, your structure, your pathways to scale, partnerships, talent, financing, and then your vision. And if you don't have this book, please, I highly recommend you get it, especially if you're trying to scale a social venture or an idea you have. I needed to write this book because I wanted to learn how others had scaled. And so by interviewing 100 social innovators who were scaling all over Africa, I learned so many new things. And it's helped every organization that I'm part of scale. And then I spent the last year writing another book, which will be published early next year. It was supposed to be published this year, but with COVID in England, my publisher is very delayed. And it's called Food Entrepreneurs in Africa, Scaling Resilient Agricultural Businesses. And again, original stuff ahead. Why would I want to write a book? But I wanted to figure out how entrepreneurs in Africa can scale, because we have so many small and micro businesses. And the idea was, how do we scale? And then we came up with 6 components of business models at scale. And this is applicable to all of you if you're entrepreneurs. The first one is that you have to have demand-driven ideas, which measurable value addition, measurable impact. It's not donor-driven, it's not government-driven, it's demand-driven, which means people need it and are willing to pay for it. Your intervention has to leverage technology, data, and innovative financing if it's going to scale. It has to shape the ecosystem. You have to get involved in shaping the policy for any intervention you want to achieve. In the food ecosystem, we've had to get involved in shaping standards for our products where none existed, creating enabling environment in our small corner of Sangota, partnering with governments in ways we never imagined, just to ensure that companies like ours can thrive. Your business model has to be cost efficient, dynamic, it has to have systems and structures. It has to be simple. You have to brand yourself. You have to have a compelling story. Package yourself, package your product, package your service. Those who get funding, those who attract a lot of attention have been very deliberate about how they package themselves. And finally, your business model has to build in resilience into its DNA. It has to be agile, it has to be responsive to climate change, and it has to mitigate against shocks. COVID-19 was one shock, there are going to be many more shocks. So as I round up, I just want to assure you that we're facing a crisis, but a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. In fact, it's a good time to soar. By finding opportunities where others don't and preparing yourself for those opportunities. So I'm coming back to where I started and asking you to type in what your role is in the social change ecosystem. You have a role. What is that role? And with that role, you're going to have to be innovative. You're going to have to be humble. You're going to have integrity. You're going to have to be committed to lifelong learning, and you're going to have to be disciplined. So please type in, I want to see what roles you think you have to play and your personal role in that social change ecosystem. And then I'm going to ask you a few questions as we round up and some parting thoughts. I know you're still all young, so you're not thinking about legacy, but it's not too early to think about legacy. Be the first. Be the first female president, but not the last. Be the first female governor, but not the last. Be the first male in your family to get the Nobel Prize, but not the last. Mentor another person, educate another person, leave a door open for somebody else. Because you lived, let someone else's life be easier. I love this quote by Isaac Newton, which says, if I've seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants. And then my current mantra, 2 current mantras. This one I posted, I took it from someone else, a quote I love. It says, this generation is no longer asking God to grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change. Growing up, we used to say this prayer, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, your generation is no longer asking the Almighty to grant you the serenity to accept things you cannot change. You're asking the Almighty to grant you the wisdom and courage to change the things you cannot accept. There's some things I cannot accept, right? I can't accept that that picture of an African child is one that's part of my reality. This is what I think of when I think of African children and Nigerian children. I think of vibrant, beautiful children who have healthy food that's affordable and available and can live their best life and achieve their highest potential. That's what I've committed my life to doing through the agriculture and food ecosystem by being a change agent in that ecosystem. And I challenge you to find that cause that we will hold you accountable for to transform for this young people, for future generations of Nigeria. Your generation is already doing much more than mine did. And I'm excited to celebrate all that you accomplished individually and collectively. God bless you all.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you so much indeed for that very short and powerful, I want to say administration, but short and powerful, speech presentation. Let's give it up for Ndidi. That was really insightful. How self-aware are you? Innovative, ethical, humble, disciplined? Are you a lifelong learner? So just take the next 15 or 10 to 15 minutes to just ask questions. And I believe at this point in the evening, be available to even share from my experience starting all these institutions or all these organizations in Nigeria. So I'd like to know, do you have any questions? Do you have questions? So India, I have a question I'd like to ask based on some of the comments or interactions I've had with some people. Some people feel that the current state in Nigeria now is like there's no hope, right? Like the way the economy is going, ASU is on strike, and many of our young of the people here are students and on strike, and people are saying, it's like there's no hope for Nigeria, there's no hope for me to even achieve anything. What would you say for somebody in that state right now? What would you say to them to kind of lift them up to see opportunities, like you said earlier, where there are problems?
So I would actually say that there are still tremendous opportunities in Nigeria. This country is still very untapped. Look at the agriculture and food landscape. We're net importers of food, and yet we should be net exporters of food. There's funding available. All the people who are interested in agriculture and food, please visit nourishingafrica.com. I'll type it in here, because then you see all the opportunities for funding, accelerators, incubators. And the sad thing is that people are coming to our countries to take up opportunities, and we're leaving the countries. We're leaving Africa, and people are coming to Africa. I was recently a judge at a business plan competition, and I told them, 8 out of 10 businesses that were funded in Kenya were started by non-Kenyans, right? 8 out of 10 by Americans and Europeans operating in Kenya. In Nigeria, it's over 50% are started by non-Nigerians in Nigeria. They're getting funding in Nigeria for Nigerian projects. And the question is, why coming to Nigeria to start businesses and you're leaving? And these are young people, and they're getting funding and you're not getting. And a lot of people say, oh, it's bias, there's racism, and there's some of that. But the other thing is we're not packaging ourselves well. We're not telling our stories. We're not amplifying our voice. And unless we build our continent, and unless we build our country, in particular Nigeria, we can go anywhere in the world. You'll still be a Nigerian. You'll still be associated with this country. Earlier this week, I had conversations with some celebrities. I'm not at liberty to talk about who they are, but they're very popular people in the United States. They happen to be Nigerian American, and they were asking, what can we do to help with the NSARS movement? I've never engaged with them before, right? And we were told not to take pictures and not to tell anybody who we talked to. But they are Nigerian American, right? So for the rest of their lives, wherever they go, people will say to them, what's going on in Nigeria? What's going on in your country? Even if they were not born here, and they weren't, these guys were not born in Nigeria, they're still associated with this country. We have to get it right. They carry the burden of Nigeria on their heads, and their future is linked to Nigeria's future. In fact, the future of African Americans all over the world is linked to Africa's future. And African Americans will never be fully respected until Africa gets its act together. So my brothers and sisters, I think we have a role to play in transforming. Now, if you want to earn good money in this country, you can. If you want to earn dollars in Nigeria, you can, right? But how will you do it? Hard work, excellence, and integrity. Excellence and integrity has no hiding place. I'm hiring right now. I'm hiring in Kano, Kaduna, Jigawa, Adamawa, Plateau. I'm hiring in my Abuja office. We cannot find people who are committed to excellence and integrity. We can't. And we pay decent salaries. Why can't we? Because everybody wants quick money, right? And they don't want to work. They literally want a salary and they don't want to work. I will hire you. I'll pay you good money. But if you're not working, I will ask you to go very quickly. So the point is, there are opportunities, but be ready to work. My people don't want to work here, but then they go to Canada and then they will drive a taxi at night. During the day, they'll work at McDonald's. If they work that hard here, they'll be billionaires. They would literally be billionaires. Land in New York City, a Nigerian PhD holder who used to be a bank branch manager driving a taxi. Just so that he doesn't want to come back and tell you that he made a mistake. He should have just stayed here and worked as hard. He would have become the MD of the bank. So be willing to work your butt off here and you will reap the rewards here, right? You will reap the rewards here. And you can have a vacation home in Canada and the United States or even in Portugal, but you will definitely reap the rewards here.
Thank you. That was really, really insightful. You know, after the whole situation, everybody was saying, I want to japa, I want to run away to Canada. And this just even gives a very good perspective to that. Someone is asking here, and it's about, as a young person, how do I build structure for success in the midst of distractions? I didn't mention something, you know, about that earlier on, but social media distractions, a lot of things are coming at us at the same time, even as young change makers. You know, you want to start a social enterprise, but somebody else is working in 9 to 5 and making more money than you. And a lot of things are coming at you. How do you build, you know, structure for success as a young person?
So I would be happy to get my book, this person, Daniel, maybe you can send them a book, my book, Reaching Millions with Impact, because it talks about structure. And if you build a well-structured organization with a board of directors, even as a student, you can have a nonprofit that's successful or social enterprise that's successful. And you can have a board of directors from your student days. Structure your organization. You can start raising money. Right now, there's so much money. On nourishingafrica.com, you can search for funding. It doesn't matter if you're not interested in agriculture, you also see funding for the energy sector, for education, for other sectors, because they normally are combined with agriculture. But what I would say is this, you have to be disciplined. So how many of you actually have a calendar of activities, a calendar of deliverables? You can use your phone to set alerts. You can use your phone to, you can use your computer to set alerts, but you have to have that calendar. I already know my deliverables for the weekend, right? I already know the things I'm gonna have to bang out this weekend so that I have a more robust week ahead. I also know how I'm going to schedule my time, my social time, and my work time. It's so important to segment them. I know many of you struggle with turning off your phones, but I have my phone perpetually on silence now. I never have my ringer on. My husband gets very upset because sometimes he really needs to reach me, but it's on silent. And I kept it on silent because that's a distraction, right? It's a distraction. So I check my phone when I need to, but when I don't need to, I don't check it. So that's, everybody has to find their own coping mechanisms. You also have to find out when you're most productive. Some people are more productive in very early hours of the morning. I'm a morning person. So I'm very productive at 4 and 5 a.m. Don't tell me to do anything at 11 p.m. at night. I will be very, I'll make a lot of mistakes. I will speak gibberish, you know, and I won't be able to figure it out. So figure out when your best hours are, and during those times, block them out. Take away all the distractions. Manage your friends. Like, people don't drop off at my house. They don't just come and say, hey, I just came to see you, Didi. I was passing through. They don't do that. I remember when I first moved back, I was like 22 years old. I was doing a summer internship in Nigeria. And my father lives in Enugu. My parents live in Enugu. And he came to Lagos and dropped by in my house. I said, Daddy, you didn't tell me you were coming. He was so angry. He said, you've come with this Oyibo mentality. I said, how would you just show up in my house? You didn't tell me.
I think we've lost you there. Can you all hear me? I think she'll be back. All right, you can all hear. All right, fantastic. I think she's going to join in back immediately. I think it's a bit of a network issue. It's a bit of a network issue. Just give her a minute. Just give her a minute. Okay, yeah. But how so far are you learning so far? What have you learned so far? Let me know in the comment section. What are you learning so far? Show something saying reaching millions in impact has really changed the way he approaches this. He approaches social enterprise things to be fantastic. All right, I think India, are you back? Okay. You're on mute now. India, you're muted.
I said just be very disciplined about how you spend your time, how you spend your resources, and who you interface with.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, I think we just take 2 more questions so we can let him go. So one question, somebody saying, how do I and combining different passion and different interests? For example, we've seen your work, go across from leadership in Leap Africa to Agric, and more. So I think the person just trying to say, how do I manage, these different passions that I may have? Some people say, oh, I'm passionate about SDG Go 1, SDG Go 4. How do you manage all those things to create, innovative solutions and contribute to, the society possibly? And maybe after you answer that question, I'll just ask the last question and go around it. Yeah.
Oh, good. So in terms of, there are many people who are multi-talented. You have so many things you could be doing, and that's someone like Daniel is multi-talented, right? And so what you do is you have to make a list. Make a list of all the things that you're passionate about and then prioritize. You can't do all of them at the same time very well. So I didn't start Leap Africa at the same time I started Sahel, at the same time I started this and that. I had to prioritize. And you have, by God's grace, a long life ahead of you. So start one thing, get it off and running before you start the next thing, right? Today, I've already resigned from one thing. I'm on so many things right now. There's a law of diminishing returns, and I can't give my best to everything I'm on. So figure out also how you spend even your time on boards, your time as advisors, your time as volunteers, and even your day job. Now, with social enterprise, trust me, you can't build a successful social enterprise at the same time you're building a successful for-profit. So I actually had to start off with Leap Africa. I worked at Leap Africa for 4 years, right? That's all I did before I started the next venture. And I don't run Leap Africa day to day. Daniel can tell you that I only come for board meetings, maybe 4 times a year. And there's a capable team and there's a capable board, and I'm not the chair. So always figure out how you're going to plan your succession from one thing to the next. I think I'll turn off my video because of how bad the internet is. Okay.
Okay.
And then in terms of a few people asking about Aldine, you can definitely get involved in Aldine, Advancing Local Dairy Development. We have a dairy conference on the 12th of November. Please, it's a free conference. Please log on to the Sahel website to find out more, or follow Sahel on Twitter. And then we have an annual conference, a 10th anniversary conference on the 24th of November, and that's also going to be amazing. We have speakers from all over the world, over 22 speakers, and then the president of the Rockefeller Foundation. And please sign up. So Sahel's website is sahelconsults.com. And then if you follow Sahel on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you see all of the details for our 10th anniversary conference as well. And yes, we are looking for people in Adamawa State, Plateau State, Kaduna, Katsina. So if you have friends, please tell them to send in their resumes to Sahel Consulting as well. We're looking for employees. We're looking for interns as well. So if you're in any Lagos or Abuja or in any of these states, please reach out. Daniel, what's the last question?
Yeah, so last question here says, how do you keep the real identity of a vision? I hear these questions a lot, that you're starting an enterprise and you don't want someone to steal your idea or steal your vision. I think that's what this person is trying to say. How do you keep the real identity of vision of a growing enterprise with numerous collaboration of people wanting to hijack it?
Okay, so there's no new idea under the sun. That's the first thing you have to realize. And It's very easy for people to copy an idea. So you have to keep reinventing yourself. You have to keep innovating. You have to keep at the cutting edge. You know, we laugh about iPhone, having iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? But they're trying to stay innovative, whether you believe it or not. Similarly, we have to keep innovating ourselves and ideas. I always believe in collaboration. I believe that if I'm open and transparent, people want to work with me. And even if they copy what I'm doing, if I stick with it, they'll move on to the next idea. Trust me. Those people who are just looking to copy ideas, they'll lose interest very easily. When we started Ace Food, so many people came out and copied us. Now many of them have closed shop because they realize it's not that easy to make money selling processed food. But if you stick with it, you can make money. So it's the same. Leap Africa, so many organizations came out and started initiatives like Leap Africa. How many of them still exist today? So it's staying power, it's resilience, it's a commitment to your vision. And that's why you have to test your vision and the source of your vision. Are you starting something because you want to copy somebody else? Or are you starting something because you really believe that you're feeling a need and you're called by God to do it? And if God has called you and you're feeling a need, you will survive, you will thrive, you will attract funding, and you will make a substantial difference. So don't lose hope and don't get sidetracked. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. You know, all of us have been called to run a race. Stay in your lane. Don't look to the left, don't look to the right. This has been my message to young people all week within my own organization. So many young people keep on looking and saying, Daniel has a new car. Daniel is getting a better salary. They don't know what Daniel is doing. Don't worry about Daniel. Worry about yourself. You know, in Igbo culture, we have a proverb that says, when you wake up is your morning. Run your race. You know, many people told me I was making a big mistake leaving McKinsey and coming to work in nonprofit. They're the same people now saying, Ndidi, you were so strategic. So strategic. How did we know you? Why didn't we do what you did? Then when I was getting into agriculture, they were so ashamed. They told me I was making a big mistake. With all your education, you want to become a farmer. I'm not a farmer, right? But that's what they think. And people used to say, she's a farmer. With all that education, she's chosen to become a farmer. And now they're saying, how did you know agriculture was going to be so important, so strategic? So never look at what others are doing, never listen to them. Your path is your path. Be confident in your path, test your path, and commit to thriving in what God has called you to do. I wish you all the very best. God bless you all, and enjoy the weekend ahead. Be safe.
Yes.
And please continue to be builders and healers and build bridges and be visionaries. And I look forward to celebrating your success in future. God bless you all.
Thank you. Come on, please, people, give it up for him. That was really, really, really insightful. That was really, really insightful. That was really, really insightful. Let me see those thank yous, those wow, you know. So this was really good. And I would just say that please let this thing not pass your left ear and go through your other ear. These are things you need to start, implementing, right? It doesn't have a PA, but guess what? When you send her an email, she responds. For young people today, they've not really done anything, and it's very hard to reach them. I'm even talking to myself here. But this kind of conversations just, puts you back on your toes and tells you that, see, what you have is enough. Use what you have to create the life of your dreams and keep at it. Now, these things take time. These things take hard work. But please, 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 I'm looking forward to your success stories. Like you said, you have a role to play in the development of Africa and Nigeria, most particularly. So, and ask yourself, I see this way that the government is representation of the people, whether you like it or not. And what we do in our immediate environments and society will have a long impact in the long run in our country. So thank you very much for joining this session. Thank you. She had to squeeze this time to attend, and that's why I think she had to run off immediately. But thank you so much for joining the session. And do have a good time. If you have any questions or further details, you can just share, send an email with the email I used in what's it called now? In sending you, with the email I used in reaching out to you, and that would be awesome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, do have a wonderful day, and see you when I see you. Thank you. I'll just play this song for you as you go. Yes, I will upload it on YouTube and share the link with you. I'll upload on YouTube and share the link for everybody.